what's up, hello.
Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? It's your girl Ashley and welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I'm gonna be doing a full face of furs, which honestly I'm pretty excited about. First impressions are always my all-time favorite videos to film just because I really love sitting down and playing with makeup and kind of like experimenting and letting you guys know my thoughts. So if you guys like these kind of videos, if you guys are new, if you just stumbled across my channel, be sure you are subscribed. It's free. Just click the button, and also don't forget to click that bell to turn on your post notifications so that way you guys are notified anytime I upload a new video, which is 3 times a week every single week. And without further ado guys, let's go ahead and hop into the look. Honestly guys, these videos are probably one of my favorite videos to film on my channel because it's just like one of those videos where I just get to sit down, chit chat with you guys and talk about makeup. So today we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. I've already done my skincare routine. If you guys do wanna see an updated skincare routine, what I've been doing to take care of my acne and what I've been putting on my face in the morning and at night, let me know in the comments down below. First things first, I am going to prime the skin with the brand new primer by Colourpop. This is the Colourpop All-Star Matte Blurring Primer. It retails for $10 over on their website. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this on the back of my hand and I'm gonna work it into the skin. I'm primarily gonna focus it right here in my T-zone because this is an area of my face where I tend to get oily throughout the day. It doesn't have too much of a scent to it, which is good. Typically I don't really like scents in my face products. I don't know, I feel like it just kind of irritates my eyes, especially because I do have very sensitive eyes. So anything with the scent very, very close to my face, I find that my eyes tend to water and it's just not a good feeling. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the primer and I'm gonna pop it on my cheeks and my forehead just so that way my entire face is nice and primed. I do notice the more and more I work into the skin, the more tacky it becomes, which is always a good thing in a primer, at least to me. I'm now gonna move on to foundation. Now this isn't a true first impressions because I have used this in the past, maybe about 2-3 years ago. This is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I do have mine in a few shades because they sent me a huge box of their foundations in PR. This guy retails for $39, which I think is a fairly decent price for a foundation. So I'm gonna shake it up and I'm going to apply it all over the face. I'm gonna use the shade Natural Beige. Okay, I think this shade is a pretty decent match for me. And as you guys can see, I'm starting in the center of the face and I'm working my way outwards, just so that way I have a very nice, even blend. Okay. Yeah, I definitely feel like this shade is a pretty good match for me. So one thing I really like about this foundation is that it is medium to full coverage. You could leave it like this where a little bit of like your sunspots kind of peek through and it gives off more of like a skin-like effect, or you can build her up all the way to full coverage. You know me, I'm a full coverage kind of girl, so I'm definitely gonna build her all the way up. Okay, so I feel like I was really able to build this foundation up to full coverage. I think the color match is pretty decent. We'll see if it oxidizes. I honestly can't remember because it's been that long since the last time I used this foundation, but I do think it sits really nicely on the skin. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna do my brows off camera just because they are a little bit particular and the way I do my brows isn't gonna be the way that you guys are gonna do your brows. So I'm gonna do that to save some time and I will be right back. So brows are done. I'm now gonna move on to concealer. Now Mercier did send this to me in PR. This is the Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer. Honestly, I've been wanting to try this for a little minute now. I do have the shade N1. She's looking a little light, but I'm hoping that I can kind of finesse things and make her work. This concealer does retail for $28. So I'm just gonna take this and put her right underneath the eyes. Honestly, she's not as light as I thought she was gonna be. I thought she was gonna be extremely fair. Oh, somebody saved my line. Somebody saved my line. Anyways, I'm gonna take my sponge and whatever's left, I'm gonna go ahead and pat it over top of my eyelids to act as my eyelid primer. I will say that this concealer blends out beautifully. Like, I'm usually accustomed to more of like a thicker concealer like the multi-use concealer by Too Faced or the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. So it's definitely refreshing to use a concealer that is very lightweight underneath the eyes. Honestly, I am loving the way my base looks right now. Like, I look flawless. Like, that concealer is beautiful. Oh my god. Now that my concealer is nice and blended out, I'm gonna go in with a loose setting powder. I'm gonna use this one by Too Faced. This does retail for $33. This is their Born This Way setting powder. I haven't actually used this to bake. I have used it, but I've used it to just catch fallout and nothing else, so I'm excited. I really like that it has this little kind of like open and close situation, so that way the powder doesn't get everywhere. Like in my Laura Mercier powder, that powder, honey, she just gets all like piled up at the top and she gets everywhere, so I can appreciate the packaging on this. I'm gonna bring my mirror a little bit closer. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I will say my under eyes are looking a little powdery from the viewfinder, but I'm hoping I can kind of fix that when I go in with my setting spray. I'm also going to use this on my chin. I'm pretty much going to use this loose powder in all the areas of my face where I did apply that concealer. Since I don't have a new pressed powder to share with you, I'm just going to use this one by Charlotte Tilbury. This is in the shade Medium 2, and it is the Airbrush Flawless Fusion Powder, which I love. I actually featured this in a favorites video. I ran a poll over on my Instagram, which reminds me, if you guys aren't following me over on the gram, definitely give me a follow, because I am always hosting polls just so that way you guys can have a say in what I use in my videos. So a lot of you guys voted on the Norvina palette. I know I just did a video using it, but you guys said that you wanted me to do this, but a completely different look, just so that way you guys have different ideas as to what you guys could do with this palette. So your wish is my command. The first shade I'm going to take in the palette is this one right here called Incense, and I'm going to take it on a Morphe M441. Who would have guessed? This is like my go-to brush now. I'm going to pop her right here in the very outer corner, and I'm just going to kind of like pack her on. Keep in mind, I did not set down my lid with any powder, just because I really want these shadows to stick to that base and apply a lot more pigmented. Once I'm done packing the color on and I feel that the majority of the product has already left my brush, I'm gonna start bringing the shadow inwards, right here in the very inner part of the eye, and then I'm gonna go in big circular motions. So after I'm done blowing the shadow out in my crease, the next shade I'm gonna use in the palette is called Eccentric. This color has been calling my name ever since I opened the palette. It's such a beautiful kind of like mustard shade. So what I'm gonna do with this is I am going to place it in my crease with a pencil brush. I am gonna use a Morphe M321. And the reason I'm using this brush is because I do want it to be concentrated right here on the very outer corner and also in the crease. So I'm really just going to pack her without blending her out, just so that way I have the color placed exactly where I want it. Then with the Morphe M507, I'm going to lightly buff and blend out the shadow, just so that way I don't have so much of a harsh edge. And as you can see, these shadows from ABH blend out very, very nicely. I'm going to do the same thing with the very inner part of the lid. I'm going to take that shade and I'm going to pop it right here in the inner corner. Honestly, guys, like, I'm a little disappointed. Like, she looks very much mustard in the palette, like a dark mustard, but when she goes on my eye, she looks brown. I'm going to use a Morphe M507 to really just kind of buff out the shade right in the inner corner. I mean, it's not an ugly shade, but I will say I was expecting something a lot different from that eyeshadow. I'm also going to take the shade and run it in my crease, like so. I'm really just going to concentrate this color on the very outer corner, inner corner, and crease, and really just go over it to build it up. With a Morphe M514, I'm just going to take this right alongside these edges and really blend it out. Honestly, this step is super important, so do not skip it. I never suggest or recommend skipping blending because it's really going to make or break your look. If you guys want more of a detailed video on the brushes I use, let me know by giving this video a big thumbs up. I kind of got a little heavy-handed with the shadow and the blending and things like that. So anytime you get to this point, I want to show you guys a way that you could easily just correct a little bit of the blending. So what I'll do is I'll go in with a Morphe M433, so a brush like this, and I will lightly just glide it alongside the edge of the shadow. It's important that you use a brush that is completely clean for this step. Otherwise, you're just adding additional product and then you're blending the shadow way too high. Instantly, you can see just how much a little bit of blending with a clean brush can do for your look. So I'm gonna do that to the other side as well. So you guys, after placing that brown and blowing it out all in my crease, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in with my brow bone highlight. I'm gonna take the shade called Base in the Norvina palette, which is a really beautiful bone colored shadow. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to place it right here on the highest point of my brow bone, and I am using a flat brush. This is a Morphe M421. What I really love about this brush is that it is super duper stiff, so I'm able to really just pack on the color in a controlled way. Then I'll take a brush like this. This is a Sigma E57, and as you can see, it is a little bit more on the fluffy side. Once I have the color placed, I'm just going to take this brush with a little bit of that shade called Base on it, and I'm lightly going to bring her down and take my brush and rock it back and forth to ensure that everything blends together. Honestly, I feel like this is a step that I can't skip, especially when I feel like I went a little bit off the deep end with my shadow, like when I blend it way too high. Using a brow bone highlight really helps me kind of bring things down and allows everything to look a little bit more blended. The next shade I'm going to take in the palette is called Passion, which is a really deep kind of like brick brown shade. I want to say it's like a mulberry, but I feel like when you place it on the eye, it turns a little bit more like a deep brown, as you can see. And what I'm doing with the shade called Passion is I'm popping it right on the inner and outer corner of the lid with the Morphe M507. And the reason I'm using this brush as opposed to a pencil brush is because I want to be able to place the color and also blend it at the same time. As you can see, this is a little bit more of a feathered brush. It also comes to a point, so it's really, really nice to kind of stick it right here in the inner corner and blend at the same time. Now I'm just taking a Morphe M433 and I'm just running it alongside the edge in the crease. Just ensure that this shade called Passion really blends into the shade we applied previously. Things are definitely looking a little smoky. I want to add like a little bit of shimmer shimmer to the look, so I'm going to pick up the shade called Dazzling and I'm going to place her right here in the very center. So one thing I will say about the shimmers in the ABH palette is that while they are really pretty, they're not like foiled, and I try to say that in the best way possible because they aren't bad. They're just like a really nice shimmer, but like I want to see like a formula that's like a little bit different for ABH. I want to see something that's super like, I don't know, like shiny, foiled, glittery. You know what I mean? I can't be the only one who feels that way, but that's just like my opinion. After placing a little bit of Dazzled in the very center, I'm gonna go right back into my Morphe M507 and I'm gonna lightly blend a little bit of Passion alongside these edges, so that way I have a little bit more of a seamless blend. So this is what I'm working with as far as eyeshadow so far. I do want to add a little bit more like pop to the look, so I'm going to step out and I'm going to use the liquid eyeshadow by PopBeauty. This one is in the shade Crushed Copper. You guys, when I got this in PR, I was shook. Like, it literally reminds me of like these Stila liquid eyeshadows, but for like $12. Like, super duper affordable. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just simply patting the shadow directly over top of that shimmer shade to give it a little bit more of a pop. As you can see, it really just creates a completely different effect, which I am living for. One thing I do want to note is that I wiped a bunch of it off from the wand and then I just dipped it into the product just so that way I could really control how much product was going on my eye. But you can really build this up to a really intense shadow, or you can use it as a topper, which I am doing right here. You guys, this is stunning. $12? So I think for the most part, the shadow on my upper lid is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly line the upper lash line with a little bit of my Tarte Clay Pot in black on a MAC 210 liner brush. And I'm not going to wing it out or anything like that. I'm just creating a very thin line so that way when I pop on my lashes, it's just super seamless and nice. I do have a new mascara to test out in today's video. This one is $29. It is from Hourglass. This is the Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. Now, you guys know how I feel about high-end mascaras. I feel like they're pretty expensive. I feel like you can kind of get the same effect by using a drugstore mascara, but that's just my personal opinion. I can't really speak before I try this, so I'm gonna give her a go and I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion because that's just what we do here. So I am noticing that it is separating my lashes really nicely. It's coating them very evenly without making them clumpy or anything like that. I do like the separation and the length it's giving me. You guys, this is nuts. Like, I almost feel like my eyelashes were straightened and curled at the end. Can you see them from the side? Do you guys see my lashes poking? Okay. They poking. So I'm gonna move on. I have to put on false lashes. Well, I don't have to. You guys know I just typically like to pop on falsies whenever I do like a lot of eyeshadow and liner. So I will be using these by Silk Noir. These are in the style 651. I think it's super cool because they sent me a big box of these lashes because in my last first impressions video, I did mention the style 650. So they sent me a bunch of different ones. I am using these just because they are a little bit more full, voluminous. Tell your team to reach out to my team. Okay, so lashes are on and I'm feeling like a million times better. I feel like they are super pretty on the eyes. Like I'm a little shook, but I'm gonna go in with the shade called Eccentric on a flat definer brush by Sigma. And I'm gonna run her right here on the lower lash line in a packing motion. What I'm worried about most is just getting the color on the lash line. Then I'll worry about blending out the shadow later. So you really just want to intensify it by just packing on the shadow like so. Going in with a Morphe M507, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of Eccentric and I'm going to kind of just wiggle it alongside the edge to ensure that everything is nice and blown out. I'm just taking a nude liner by Rimmel and I'm just lining my lower lash line. You guys know I love a good nude liner and this one is just bae all day. Like I love her so much. Look at the difference between this eye and this eye. This eye just like looks a little bit more like and this eye just looks like not cute. So I went ahead and zoomed you guys out just so that way you guys could see my face as a whole. I'm definitely looking like a little bit flat and a little bit too matte. So I want to bring dimension back into the skin. So I'm going to use this little bronzer duo by Jouer. This is in the shade Sunlight and Suntan. This guy retails for $30, which honestly I think is a fairly decent price for a duo bronzer set. So I'm going to pick up the shade called Sunlight with a MAC 135 brush and I'm going to lightly bronze up the skin. I like that it's light and it's not like too dark. Sometimes I feel like bronzers can be a little bit too dark and then they'll start to get muddy on the skin. So this kind of reminds me of like Hula Light by Benefit, but just like a smidge darker. Nothing too crazy though. I'm now going to go into the darker shade right here called Suntan and I'm going to take it on a BH Cosmetics Pro No. 3 brush and I'm just kind of gonna chisel out this area right here. And the reason I'm using a brush is because this one is a little bit more of a dense brush and I'm able to really focus the color in one area. Honestly, this is a really pretty bronzer. So I definitely brought a lot of life back into my face with just this bronzer alone. This right here, this is a 10. Like I am high-key obsessed with the way it looks on the skin, like living. So we're now going to move on to the fun part, and that's adding the glow into the skin. Wet n Wild did launch a new loose highlighting powder. This one is called Written in the Stars, and it retails for $6.99. Do you guys see that highlighting powder in there? I don't want to shake it up too much because I don't want it to like go everywhere. I'm a little bit nervous to put this on my face. But before I put it on, since it is a loose highlighting powder, I am going to spray my face with a little bit of Fix Plus, just so that way that loose powder can really stick to the areas of my face that I want it to stick. I'm going to fan her out just a little bit, and before that Fix Plus completely dries, I'm going to pick up a little bit of this powder right here on a Morphe M510, and I'm going to pop her on. She's intense. I feel like she's crazy intense. A little bit does go a very long way, as you could see. So what I'm gonna do to try to get this to melt in the skin a little bit better, I'm gonna spray my Morphe sponge with some MAC Fix Plus, tap off, and I'm gonna kind of just pounce her directly over top, just because at this point in time I do feel like it's just like shimmer on the skin, but after like pouncing it with the damp sponge like this, I feel like I was able to really just melt it so it looks a little bit more on the natural side. Highlighting powder, she's pretty good. For blush, I do have this little kit thingy by Pixi. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this peachy tone blush right here. Psh, clearly, you guys know I love me a peach tone blush. I'm actually gonna mix this one and this one together and pop it on my cheeks to give me some color. For lips, I am going to be using this lip liner by Covergirl. This is one of their new Exhibitionist lip liner. This is $5.99, and I am going to be using the shade Caramel Nude. I actually like that it comes to a slant, and I also like that it is a retractable lip liner. You guys, this lip liner is bomb. Like, it's super creamy and buttery on the lips. Like, it's not tugging, it's not dry. Like, the consistency is everything. I kind of want to like fill in my whole lips with just that lip liner, but I do want to test out this. This is by Too Faced. This is one of their new melted matte metallic lippies, and this one right here does retail for $21. I will be using the shade Pillow Talk, which is kind of like a nude matte metallic lip color. Like, it looks really pretty. I will say I wasn't expecting to like this Too Faced matte metallic lipstick just because it is like a metallic, but it's matte. So like, I don't know, I feel some type of way about it because it's subtle. I don't know if it's because it's a nude or what, but I do really love the color. I think it looks amazing on the lips. Like, I'm all about it. I'll definitely let you guys know how it lasts throughout the day, like when I eat and things like that. I'm now gonna go ahead and finish things off with a setting spray. This is by Colourpop. They recently just launched this alongside their face primer, and it retails for $10. I'm gonna give her a little bit of a shake because you guys know those horror stories with like setting sprays. Oh my god, I was about to say not again. Like, I thought the spray wasn't working. Here we go. Oh my god, it was like a water hose. Okay, so I will say that the mist on this is a little bit strong. Like, I was expecting something to be like super fine and airy like the Morphe spray, but definitely has that rose scent to it, which isn't terrible, but if you don't like rose, you're not gonna like this spray. So you guys, I actually ended up switching out my lip color. While it is the same exact thing from the same exact brand, this is the Melted Metallic lip color in the shade Bitch I'm Too Faced. Like, I really like the Pillow Talk one, but I felt like it was a little bit too matchy-matchy with the look, and I kind of wanted to switch things up. So I love it. I'm obsessed with the look, finally. I did also want to try out one last product, which is a body glow oil. Oh, so this is by Becca in collaboration with Chrissy Teigen. It is a body glow oil, and apparently like you're supposed to put it like all over, and you're supposed to look very like a snack.
Yeah.
Wow.
You looking like a snack.
Yeah. I guess I feel cute today.
At least I hope. So I'm gonna pour a little bit of this on to my hand. This retails for $42, by the way. A little pricey, but I feel like if you love her, then you love her. I will say she smells really good. I'm gonna rub her on my shoulder, actually. She looks hydrated. She looks glowy. Honestly, I can't say if I love it or if I hate it. Just because I am indoors, it may look a little bit better outdoors. I'll definitely let you guys know, keep you posted. Follow me over on Instagram if you guys want any updates on that product in particular. So you guys, it's been a few hours. It's around 10:30 at night. It is actually 10:23 to be exact, and I wanted to go over some products that I really enjoyed throughout the day. First and foremost, I'm obsessed with the Norvina palette by ABH. What I love most about it is that we do have a mixture between cool tones and warm tones, so if you wanted to experiment with color, you can very much do so with this palette, but I feel like there's enough neutral shades within this palette to get a very pretty neutral look if you didn't want to experiment with color that day. So I feel like you could do a lot with this palette, although it does seem to be colorful. It's really not. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do for that particular day. Another product I think I'm going to be using a lot is this Contour Duo by Jouer. This is in the shade Sunlight and Suntan. You guys, I can't express to you how much I love this kind of like bronzer duo that I put on my face today. What I love most about it is that it doesn't look muddy. It really just creates very natural shadows, giving you a little bit more dimension to the face. So I'm definitely gonna start using her in my everyday makeup routine. I definitely have to give a big shout out to the Silk Noir lashes in the style 651. They are the pair that I'm wearing on my eyes right now. What I love most about these is the no-show band. I love that the band is super duper thin, so it's not heavy, and it also doesn't poke me in the inner and the outer corner. You know those lashes that are super duper thick at the band to the point where the inner and the outer corners kind of poke you and then it's uncomfortable? These are not like that at all, and I can really appreciate them. I love that they are more on the natural side, but they still have like that layered volume that makes your eyes look super duper kind of like fluffy. Like, I am living. I really love these. Moving on. Another product I was really loving in the video is the liquid eyeshadow by PopBeauty. What I love most about this is that it is kind of like a liquid kind of like glitter eyeshadow, but the glitter does not crumble onto your lashes. Like, I have a hate-love relationship with my Stila liquid eyeshadow. I really love how foiled and glittery she is when I put her on the eyes, but the glitters always crumble onto my lashes and it's not a flattering look at all. This does not do that, and it retails for 12 bucks. Do what you want with that info. I'm just saying. I will say I wasn't expecting to love the Too Faced matte metallic lip colors as much as I do. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of metallic lips. That's a train I never decided to get on. I'm like, you could go, because I'm just not about it. But I love the formula. I love the finish. I love that it's not like too crazy metallic. It gives your lips a really pretty sheen, and like I said, it's very comfortable. It didn't really last me throughout the day. I definitely had to touch her up, and I kind of reapplied before I sat down, but nonetheless, they still are very beautiful. The Covergirl lip liner is definitely worth a mention. What I love most about it is that she is extremely smooth and creamy on the lips. Now, I love MAC lip liners, but one thing I hate most about them is the fact that they are extremely dry, and I really have to press down hard, and it kind of like tugs on my lips. This does not do that. You get the pigmentation of a MAC lip liner without all of that tugging and pulling and that dryness. I also love that I can kind of fill in my entire lips and it looks like actual matte lipstick, so I'm about it. Lastly, I want to shed some light on the Laura Mercier concealer. One thing I will say about this is that it is a nice change of pace from all of like the thick, heavy concealers that I've been using recently. Too Faced Multi-Use and also Tarte Shape Tape. I've been obsessed with those for a really long time. So it's nice to use a concealer that is extremely lightweight underneath the eyes. As you guys saw, it was super thin in consistency, but not too thin. She also blended out like a dream. And I also really like that she did not crease underneath my eyes. I keep calling her a she. The concealer did not crease underneath my eyes. I do want to experiment with a few different shades from the line, but for the most part, I am really liking her, and I will continue to use her. And with that, those are the products that I felt were worth mentioning towards the very end of the video, the products that I really enjoyed and liked. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, and if there are any other products you guys want me to review, test out, anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. I definitely want to film content that you guys want to see here on this channel. If you guys have yet to subscribe, make sure you subscribe, because I've been uploading 3 new videos every single week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. and y'all don't want to miss it. So I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces. Bro, are you farting? That is disgusting. Yeah, I'm sure the camera. Y'all picked that up, right? It's a.
No, don't fucking judge me.
So you made it to the outro of the outro, where you get to hear me talk a little bit more and encourage you guys to subscribe and also like the video. If you didn't know, likes really help me out like a lot. So like the video if you guys haven't already. It takes like 2 seconds. Double tap. Give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button on my shoulder, and check out some of my other videos. I have loads more first impressions. I have some stuff that you're really gonna like, so check those out, and I'm gonna go. I have some errands to do. I'm hungry. Bye, guys.